Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, for nerds, by nerds, hanging out with this nerd.
I'm Ted.
And today we are going to do a player's tip, building your Warlock Pact.
Before we get into that, if you want to jump down to the description below, sign up for Nerdarchy, the newsletter. It's a great way to get gaming tips delivered straight to your inbox.
So with that, the reason we want to talk about this specific player tip is because, time and time again, and I've been guilty of this as well. I mean, I've only played one real Warlock character, and basically I went with you were saved from death. You did a Spelljammer character, and I kind of I guess you didn't offer up the reason for your Warlock Pact.
Yeah, I think I actually wanted it left open.
Okay, I left you drifting in space, and you were going to die.
Right.
So I haven't been overly creative with it, and it is definitely an area I want to work on. And so I figured, why not work on it here with you guys, right? And and Ted, you did come up with an interesting idea for one of your characters.
Yeah,
that was a Warlock.
I took a character that was played in a non-Nerdarchy game, so we don't have any footage on it. But
it never happened, people. It never happened.
But rather than go with a standard trope, he took Warlock later on in the character build, so he was already adventuring, and he came upon this tome, a book, and he sat down to glance at it during during a short rest or a long rest, whatever have you, and he lost access to the ongoings, and he kept reading the book, being pulled in, so to speak, and he has no knowledge of what was actually in the book. And when everyone else woke up, the book was gone. But what I said happened is that the book was something of lost knowledge about some greater being that exists out there in the multiverse, somewhere across the planes. And what he did is he wound up stealing a portion of this being's power, and that was his Warlock Pact. And I did it.
Was that did you go with the other world patron?
Yeah. And
so he read the Necronomicon, it disappeared, and then all of a sudden...
Yes, so he got access to telepathy and whatever have you, and the DM really didn't particularly care about my story, so it never came up, but I thought it would be very interesting to put this adversary out there to either be able to say, all right, well, you're stealing power. At some point in time, we were gonna, I thought that things would happen, and eventually this guy's minions would be coming after me, to either negotiate some kind of, all right, well, you need to do what we want, or we're going to kick
or you need to give that back.
Or we're going to kick your ass because, you need to give that back. And I thought it'd be a very interesting setup. I thought it was cool. And then, like I said, the DM never touched on it, and it was just all right, well, that's just a floating thing that's out there. But if that's something that you want to use in your game, I think it's really neat.
Yeah, then Ryan did, his character was more of a barrister, and that he basically out bargained a demon for his Warlock's Pact powers, and he essentially without doing it, he did the Georgia went down the
devil went down to Georgia.
The devil went down to Georgia, and he just beat he beat this demon, this devil, at whatever, and he became a Pact of the Chains. And so he took an imp as his familiar, but he also had taken the variant noble and played the knight, and instead of having 3 retainers, his retainers were 3 more imps, but they weren't real imps, they were just I don't want to say, well, not imaginary, but lesser imps under the control of the imp that was part of his pact.
Right.
Yeah. So they basically functioned like the retainers. They didn't have any imp powers or anything. Just visually, they looked like the imps.
They couldn't get into combat. So.
Yeah. And and one of the things was there was spectral chains that would go from his imp to the other imps. So it's almost like his minion had minions kind of deal. Which is definitely way more interesting than, I was dying and something spoke to me, which is the only thing I have played with. But the character that I would really like to play is my pal Locke, which is Oath of the Ancients, Fey Pact Warlock, and basically I want my character to have been a hunter, who encounters the Earl King and the hunt.
Right.
And I haven't worked out the specific details, but whether it's he had the choice of joining the hunt or being the hunted, and he chose to join the hunt, or he managed to evade the hunt. I want his patron to be the Earl King,
right?
Or is some variation of the Earl King,
some great fey creature that deals with hunts. And I think that's really neat. Like Bart's character in my game, he just joined this past session, and he's a warlock, but he's gone towards the light, and he doesn't know his character's backstory. Like his entire character was rewritten by his pact. So he doesn't know where he's from. He doesn't know.
He could have became a warlock just for a pack of Bubblicious.
So he doesn't even know what's going on. He just knows like he has this all-consuming quest to bring light to the dark, or bring light to the darkness. And it's interesting, and it's kind of his own thing. It's like, well, this is almost a cop-out to, I don't want to write a backstory, but I also really like this idea.
Yeah, it's open-ended. It's got room. His character has a purpose and a goal. You have everything you need as the GM and as a player to put stuff forward. And if he's not... if he's not specific about his backstory and isn't worried about it, then it gives you freedom as a GM,
right? And
to insert things.
I was like, oh, okay, I like that. I'm gonna, do this. I actually gave him some little teaser hints about what he was before, because you guys have already figured out that he's a changeling,
right?
But that's not his race. We feel that came with his package for this Warlock Pact, the ability to shapeshift.
Oh, so he totally got rewritten.
Yes, and so it's like, all right, this is what you are now, but before you used to be something else. So it may or may not come out in game what exactly he was. He got the Unicron
pack deal, his package.
Yeah. So it was interesting the way we came up with stuff. So I'm like, oh, well, you're going to get these abilities, and you don't know why you have them. You can try to play around with them or not, but if you figure things out, then great. If not, then it's just out there.
Then great as well. So there's that. Then if you look at like I mentioned Transformers, Unicron, which is essentially that to me almost feels like a Warlock pack in itself. I mean, granted, that's going back to you're going to die or you're going to serve me. But it was interesting for the Transformers. Then there is, if you look at comic books, you have Johnny Blaze, who basically wanted to see, I believe it was his sister, or was it his father? His father. And, and so he struck up a bargain with the devil, and, it went south, as it generally does. Yeah, but again, it wasn't like he wasn't doing it for himself; he was doing it for somebody else, which is definitely an option for you guys if you're building a warlock and you want a reason to have a pact. That's just one example. I could absolutely see, making a Fey pact to try and make someone fall in love with you. But again, the Fey will twist things.
Yeah.
And same with with demons and fiends, and I feel like the other worldly powers just don't really give a rat's ass. Like they have their purpose or whatever,
right.
But you're almost beneath their notice. Like their pacts almost happen by accident, like yours did. Like Cthulhu does not worry about like humans. It's like there's things that get stuck between his toes when he walks. Yeah, and also I feel like the otherworldly patrons, I feel like they're beings that exist in multiple dimensions at the same time. So unless they're looking into the one where you actually belong,
right,
they're not even going to see you.
So like I think one of the points that I want to make on this video is, yes, you can absolutely go with the save or die situation, but there are so many different options that are out there. So if you want to make something that's unique, that's interesting, and you've got a DM who's willing to work with it, then then get creative. Come up with something that's going to be a great story. That's going to be...
Well, the other one, too, and you could even tie it to like a trinket or something, but look at the latest iteration, the Spirit of Vengeance Ghost Rider, Dan Ketch, where I believe he found the motorcycle, and, you know, and the Spirit of Vengeance would just kind of activate when he got near, you know, something that required penance, you know, required that spirit. So, like, he didn't even get a choice in his pact, in essence, you know, until eventually he came to terms with it. Or, you know, I don't remember if the motorcycle kind of bonded with him, and it, you know, it was going to always call to him since the first time it got used.
It uses the handlebars and nuzzles like a cat.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah, it's been a long time. We're going back to the 90s when that came out, and I was reading those comic books. But, but you know, it's just another point that there's definitely other options that are more interesting than...
Absolutely.
Than... my character was dying, and in order to save his life, you know, for a Warlock Pact to happen, there's only one element you truly need, and that is, well, need.
Right.
You know, you, for whatever reason, your character has to have a need for more power than he has right then and there. Right. The circumstances could be anything. It could just be that he wants more power, therefore he has the need. Right. Like, he's chosen to have the need, right?
And, you know, a couple of those examples, though, don't even have that. Like, you know, my Warlock who found the book, or the guy who came upon that item.
Well, he had a need to read the book, though. Like there was something inside of him that pushed him to seek something, right? So that might be, it may not be a conscious need, but subconsciously that character had the need to read that book, right? The knowledge.
He came upon the book while adventuring, and he's like, "Oh, that's cool. I'll see what this is." And it was slight curiosity turned into the I can't stop reading this. So.
Yeah, so yeah, there was something to draw, but you know, again, these are just like a handful, you know, of examples, and there's tons more, and I'm sure you guys have some interesting ones you could share in the comments below. While you're at it, like, share, and subscribe. You
can head over to nerdarchy.com and check out some sweet swag.
So until next time,
stay nerdy.